Well, we all knew the day was going to come, so it's not a surprise. It'll be a festive occasion when we all get to thank him after the game. But he certainly deserves it, just like Manu and Timmy did. So we'll do it and bid him bon voyage, and he'll live the rest of his life. He's got a lot ahead of him. It'll be a whole lot more fun than basketball.
You surprised about all the things he's already doing now that he's retired?
No, he never came to practice most of the time anyway. He was always doing that stuff while he was a player. He was involved in all kinds of things, so it's not a surprise at all. He does a good job. He's a good businessman. He enjoys travel. He enjoys people. He likes, getting involved in different situations, whether it's personal business or charities. He's very active, so this is right up his alley. He's going to have a lot of years to participate in this sort of thing.
I don't know if you ever look up the rafters, but when you might now, will it feel a little more complete to see both, to see all three of them?
Oh, sure. I mean, they were all important to each other. They respected each other. They felt responsible to each other. They pushed each other. They enjoyed their time together. So to have all three of those jerseys up there together is very special.
Taylor Jenkins started his career here in San Antonio.
Right.
For you, what has it been like to see his rise through the ranks and become head coach this year?
Well, it's always fantastic to see one of these guys move on to bigger and better things. So, Taylor spent most of his time, then it was the D-League. So he got his feet wet coaching and was able to do a lot of things down there and figure out what he believed in and what he thought would happen. And he spent a lot of time up here with us whenever he can get out of Austin. And so he's had a lot of experience before he took this job. And to see him be in this position is very heartening. And he's going to do a great job. You can already see that they've bought in. They work hard every night. Their energy, playing unselfishly, understanding that it's night after night after night. You can't just come and play every 3 or 4 games. So he's in a good position, and he'll do a fantastic job, I think.
What did you see in Tony back in 2001 that made you want to pursue him?
Well, he obviously had some physical skills. He was very fast, more fast than quick, very fast. And he had a great confidence in his abilities. And when we decided or came to the conclusion that he was physically tough enough, we gave him the ball early, I think after 5 games, to see how he would handle it mentally. And he did a fine job. He never blinked. He wasn't intimidated by anyone. He handled criticism. He learned from mistakes. So he was a special guy from a very young age.
When did you realize that he could go on to be a legend here in San Antonio?
Oh, I don't know. There's no point for that. I don't know when that. It's not like a light comes on all of a sudden. Everybody's career progresses at a certain pace.
You said when you arrived, or I read that you said that you showed him this end and you told him John Stockton is here and you're here. And I don't want you to be John Stockton, but I want to bring you here.
Right.
Do you feel like this is what happened?
Absolutely. He was a scoring guard. He wasn't a distributor or anything like that. He wasn't really a point guard at that time. So, on that spectrum, so to speak, or that scale, I thought if we could bring him halfway into the middle and he became more of a distributor, one would not expect him to distribute like John Stockton. That's a special player in his own right. But if he could do that, I thought he would be very effective and, help us win. So he learned how to do it. Found his teammates, but kept his scoring abilities. When he would drive, he was a great finisher at the rim. And over time, he learned how to shoot the three-pointer from the corner, gained more confidence in his shot, working with Chip England and Chad Forcier. So he did do what I asked him to do, or whatever challenge I gave him at the very beginning.
Can you speak to his willingness to adapt his role from the start of his career to the middle and then to the very end?
Sure, players that have class, that have character, that understand about the group more than about themselves do that in their careers. He knew that his speed would fade, that he needed to shoot, and he learned how to do that much better. And then he understood that younger players were probably going to get time, and his time would diminish, and he was very willing to be a mentor and help them along the way. So from beginning to end, he was just a class act.
You mentioned the responsibilities those three guys have with each other. What exactly goes into that, and how big of a deal was that to what you built here?
Well, I mean, let's just imagine that they had egos such that they couldn't deal with each other. Then you don't have championships. You have pretty good seasons, probably, less fun, and that wasn't the case. We were unbelievably fortunate. It was like serendipity to have three guys that you could coach and hold them accountable just like you would anybody else on the team. No special treatment or anything like that.
Was it a sense that those three guys were kind of holding each other to that standard more than somebody from the outside?
Oh, sure. If you've got character, you have your own standards. You don't need somebody else to constantly push you and lead you in a certain direction. You know what's right, and you know what wins, and that mutual respect they had for each other was pretty obvious all the time.
Pop, the league has now more than 100 international players. When you start this process, it's a mark an era with Tony and then Manu.
Right.
Do you think at that moment it will happen what is happening right now? Or from the downstage
I can't say that I knew it'd be this many, but we knew early on, after learning that from Don Nelson, that there were great players everywhere. And I knew that when I was in the military and played some military basketball overseas, and I saw players that were really good. So I personally knew it, and observing Don Nelson, made it even more obvious. And so we felt that mining foreign countries for players was something that could be very valuable. And, obviously other teams have picked up on it, and now it's to the point where it truly is an international game, which is great.
Anything you miss about him, with him not being around anymore?
Those guys, those three, I've been with them so long. They're like personal relationships are so wonderful, and they're you miss when you're not around them, but you still keep in touch with everybody. Tony's my connection to Chateau Yquem, so I have to stay friends with him. Even if he angers me, I have to stay friends. I have to smile.
Which one of the three knows more about wines?
Oh, Tony, without it's not even close. Yeah, Tony all the way, sure. He'll have a glass with his meals and that sort of thing when we're on the road, and through osmosis, some other guys realize that a good glass of wine enhances a meal. So yeah, he had an effect on everybody.
When you made him a starter, he became the first international point guard to be a starter in the NBA.
Really? I didn't know that. Or I might have known it and forgot it. I don't know. That was a long time ago. That's not why I did it, for sure.
Do you maybe remember what was the mindset and why that might have been that they hadn't been before?
Well, I think it's the same reason why there weren't a whole lot of international players at that time. There were prejudices. The guys overseas won't play defense, or they won't matriculate. They won't like it here. Socially, they won't get along. They don't speak the language. All sorts of excuses to not do your work, I think, is what it was all about. But it was just a prejudice, kind of a hubris on the part of the Americans. And so like anything else, if they see some people being successful, then people will look at it. And, you know, I think didn't Dirk come shortly after that? And everybody else. And actually there was a period there where the pendulum swung the other way, and a lot of people failed because everybody jumped in and thought that everybody was going to make it. And there were a lot of foreign draft picks, even high draft picks, that did not make it. So the pendulum had to come back to the center a little bit, and everybody did a little bit better evaluation. And now with, you know, so many coaches and relationships overseas and clinics, it just exploded.
How special are days like this for you personally? The guy that you saw come in 2001, and now you get to see his number raised to the rafters from a personal point of view.
Well, I think I'm, you know, if not the most, one of the most fortunate coaches that's ever been able to do this because of those three guys. It's just remarkable to be able to be with them for that period of time and watch them develop as people, as players, to see them interact with so many other people and travel with them, whatever, 8-9 months a year. So to have that opportunity is priceless. It's rare. I don't think a lot of people are going to be able to say that they were with 3 Hall of Fame players for that long a period of time. So talk about serendipity, good fortune, luck, whatever you want to call it. I certainly feel honored and fortunate to have been there.
If you have to describe Tony with just one word, which one would you?
I don't play those games.
What comes to mind, though, when you think of Tony? What's the thing that comes to your mind?
Do I have to kiss up to him all night long? Haven't I said enough? How much more do I got to say about the guy? Jesus, get a life, will you? You know, let's talk about Bryn Forbes or somebody. You know? Come on. Tony's got enough. We're going to all love him up there. It's going to be sickening. You know, everybody's going to be screaming and yelling, Tony, Tony. You know.
What annoyed you about Tony's last
Ah, there you go. What annoyed me? This is what annoyed me, I think. So, you know, I'm trying to do this John Stockton thing and get him to come halfway. And so I'd say, Tony, there's guys, you know, you got to find guys. You got to find some, you know, he's open. You know, you look around. I know you got to see him. So if I did that in a game, he would basically never shoot again. And he would just try to find people. I'd say, Tony, what are you going to do? Pop, you told me to pass. I said, well, I didn't tell you to just exclusively to pass, you know, that kind of thing. So we'd go through that once in a while. Yeah, he'd take me very literally.
In France, we all know Tony Parker, but we don't really do jersey retirement. Can you explain to the French audience what does it mean for the player?
Sure. You know, NBA clubs, and I think NFL, Major League Baseball, I mean, all our sports here in America, if somebody has exhibited a long career of excellence on the field, on the court, and at the same time done it with class and been a good community person, a good teammate, all those things rolled into one, and the team has been successful because of their presence, a jersey retirement will naturally follow. So it doesn't happen very often, but when it does happen, you know that that individual is very special, and that's certainly Tony. Okay. Have a good night. There's a game tonight. I don't know if you guys are staying for the game.